Here's the thing, the government knows the mind, and this is like not by assumption, this is by wisdom. The government knows how the mind works more than us. They know way more than us. And people, like, they don't always, from what was taught through naive, because that's what I see it as, they don't always want to do the right thing. So, but I don't believe, like I said, that Lucifer exists. I don't believe that God exists. And even if it does, that's not important, because we're here, we're not up there, we're not down there, even if those places are up or down or wherever they may be, because we're energy. Another thing that I didn't finish about the stardust. Yeah, it is fallen stars, chemicals from the galaxy. It doesn't have force anymore, but we have iron in us, I believe, in our blood. We're made out of the chemicals of the universe. We have, like, lightning travels, and that's just seen. That's not, you can't trap it with your hands. That is, and if lightning travels, and that's also considered energy. So are we. I mean, we also have that ability to not be thunder itself, but like we also are made out of those chemicals, whether they affect us the same way or not, or in a molded different form. What I'm saying is, the universe, we have the same chemicals in us, but it is molded in a different form because we were processed by it. And they were processed by something. The universe itself is processed by something higher that we don't see. But we all know that somehow we're connected. We all had like something supernatural happen to us that we can't explain, whether it's good, bad experiences. We all had those. Because we're all different. And we could call it supernatural, but I just believe that we're all different. And there's shit that we just don't know about ourselves because we can't use 100% of our brain. And what I believe is because we were taught so much toxic stuff that our brain, what happens when, here's another thing, what happens when you go through bad experiences? Not just the fact that the black holes, you know, the roots grow in your brain, scientifically proven. You could lose your memory process. You have trouble breathing, which also stops air from going up to your brain. You have trouble receiving what you need to keep your brain going. So therefore, that also, to me, the Bible is bad, because if you're taught evil, your brain will continue to have malfunction. It won't work completely. And from the beginning, we were taught evil. We were taught that evil also exists, therefore creating us to be afraid. If these teachings weren't taught anymore, I'm telling you, the brain will have more capacity because it won't be held back by negative thoughts, by negative energy. I'm gonna use this guy for example. There was this man I knew, he hated me. He was a Christian church leader. He hated me. And he didn't want to accept that he didn't hate me. He hated what was happening to him. Because we are in control of ourselves, right? No one else is. But he would blame me for his problems. He would yell at me at a random. And this is the only person I've really met that is like that. That's why I could only relate this to this. He would always blame me for his problems. He would blame me for what was going on with him. He would be so negative around me. But he couldn't see that there was something wrong with him as well. Like, that he was what he attracted. Because this man, here's what happened. He was sexually attracted to many people while being with one person, and this man was a Christian leader. This is why I say Christian leaders are deceiving. They're worse because they're keeping themselves away from what how we're supposed to be really originally molded. because their belief tells them it's only one way of living. So this man, he tried to get with me, even though he was engaged. He tried to get with me, and he knew I wasn't interested. What happened? Years passed. This is the first person that acted like this, but I had many other people that acted like this. I never stood up to this person because I felt so bad for him. I was like, he's being bamboozled. I thought there was something wrong with, you know, what was going on with him, but I didn't want to see fully that there was something wrong with him. And he ended up taking it out on me. I didn't stand up towards, you know, the negative energy that was getting put out. I never stood up to him. I just let him be. I was just like, oh, let me just let this be, because, you know, I don't really care about him. I care about other things. And I really did. I cared about some things that I should have put in place. I didn't. I put other things in place. And I replaced the good stuff that I cared about, and I couldn't take it back. It was already too late. I never stood up to him. I never told him, you know, what he was doing was wrong. I never confronted him. But this man then, in the future, ended up hating me. First, he wanted to get with me. Being married, he would sexually find me attractive, and many other people, because what happened was he also liked younger women. He went to like a middle school, I believe. He was old already. I believe he was like 25, 26. He was a teacher or something like that, or a tutor. I don't know what it was, but I had a cousin, a younger cousin. She was like 13. She told me that, oh, I know that guy. He goes to my school. He looks at the girls' butts here. Every girl thinks he's creepy and ugly. Like, he's always looking at the girls, little girls, and their ass and everything. And I was like, okay. I was like, so he's a creep already, like, because he was doing that to me. So I was like, all right, I know to stay away from him. After that, this guy saw that I developed as a male, because obviously I then grew to be a tomboy. I did look very feminine, skinny and everything, very feminine, but I was a tomboy. So he became aggressive towards me, because he then saw that his wife was taking notice. Well, she was already doing stuff like that. I just didn't know until she came out to me that she was into women. She came out to me in secret because she was a church leader, and she told me that she wanted to leave the church. She couldn't stand being there, and she said it was too stressful on her. And I would always tell her, like, I didn't believe that she should do that, because I wasn't sexually into her. I was seeking for help. She was a youth leader there as well, but she always tried to like flirt and everything. And from there, I thought, you know, because me taking myself away from the world, which is where we grow, not in church, I took myself away from the world, and I was like, no, I should only go to church. I should stop being gay. And I was holding back my true person, who I really was, but I was letting it get fed in a messed up way. And then after that, you know, I let this lady do a lot of stuff with me that I wouldn't do with her, because obviously I was getting a type of satisfaction out of it, because I couldn't be with a woman. I knew that, not because people told me, but because I was praying, I was believing into this Bible. And every time this woman would try to kiss me, a youth leader, she would kiss me, she would tell me things and stuff, I would become delusional about it, and I would let her do it. And I would never get, you know, our true life experience, which is to do also live how we, you know, love back. I wouldn't love back. Let's say that I wouldn't love her back, or I would, and then I would take it back. That's how it would be. And that's not life experience. We're supposed to give who we really are, not fake, who we really are. So whenever she would be nice to me and do these things, tell me she wanted to leave the church or all that, I would tell her, no, that's wrong, don't do that. And then I would be letting her do stuff to me but I wouldn't want the, give love back, have a relationship. I didn't want none of that because I knew it was wrong. Well, I thought that was wrong. That was my knowing. I thought that was wrong back then. So I ended up, I'm not gonna play, that I was perfect in this picture either. This woman was the wife of the man who was interested in me and a bunch of women. She was the wife to be of this man. And this church just really fucked my life, and I let it. But I remember that I was always letting her, do stuff with me, flirt, and I would be playful back, but like a little boy mind, because I didn't know. Another thing is that I am transgender. I'm developing. At that time, I was kind of like, when I liked a girl, I was like a little boy. I was like flirting, but not flirting sexually. That's why I say little boy, because men obviously don't have the intentions. Men are like, no, woman, I want marriage. Men are more, I feel like a man is more direct. They know what they want. That is a man. Whether they want, marriage, they just don't play games. A real man doesn't play games. Whether they're just straightforward, they're honest. But I'm not saying that all men just have to be with one wife, okay? Like, y'all gonna hate me for this, but some people, I believe in all those relationships as long as it works for them and as long as they're taking care of the other person's vessel and the other person's mental health. Those relationships are fine with me. Like, relationships that have multiple partners, those are incredible to me, and I think that's amazing they can do that, because there's so many people in a sexual relationship, and sexuality is such a high, a high experience for us as humans. It's one of the highest. So obviously I encourage those relationships, but I know that there's a right way to do that. That's what I'm trying to say. As long as you're not deceiving, you're not playing games. I believe that. But me, I was playing games. I was like acting like a little boy, a little child. But I wouldn't even want to see her sexually because I was scared of sex. That's what I was taught. I was like, if I see her sexually, I'm gonna die. God's not gonna protect me no more. That was my obsession. I was crazy. That's what I was taught through the Christians. And I let it. But I grew out of it by seeing how evil they were. Slowly I was like, no, this faith doesn't lead to anything good. But okay, so I would play, back to this couple, I would play games like, try to touch her, flirty, but I wouldn't think that was flirty. I'd be like, but I don't want to have sex with her. I'm not flirting, I'm just touching her, whatever. And she would be giggly, and we would just be like that for the longest. She would randomly kiss me and then take it back, be like, oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that. It would be that kind of relationship. And this man didn't like it because it would happen in front of his eyes. It would happen in front of his eyes. And whenever we looked at each other, I would look at her to get the satisfaction of being with a wife, because I thought I couldn't have that. I was like, that's a sin. So I would hide it. And I would hide it to myself. That was the worst. There's a lot of gays go through this. But it's the truth. And I'm not here to lie and say this didn't happen. This stuff happens in people's lives, as raw as it sounds and as fucked up. But so this man, Peniel, he, like I said, he was also a drummer at that church, and he would look at us, he would be mad at her, looking at me, like wanting to kill us, basically, mostly me. He would yell at me. He just hated me. But he was the worst one in this, because I feel like that's what we do to ourselves. We become him when we don't accept what we deserve. At least for me, I was getting that human experience where I was still feeling happy, but this man wasn't happy. And I feel like stuff like that could lead to someone killing someone. And that's how he was. He was very aggressive. He hated me, but really I felt like he hated himself for putting himself through that, but he didn't want to admit it. This is why we must know that if people are encouraging you to be in a relationship that you don't want, you're probably going to stand up for yourself in the worst way possible. Or you're just going to